Hi, I'm Beth, and I'm here with 8 embroidery tips for you, brought to you by Coats & Clark. So the first one is, before you start your project and before you get your embroidery floss all ready, write down the numbers of the colors you're using. Just in case you need to get more, you'll know exactly what color you used. Our second tip is embroidery floss tends to knot if you leave it in the packaging, so it's a good idea to take off the packaging and then just separate it into the loop that it is naturally folded into. This just makes it easier to handle. Our third tip is to cut the embroidery floss to the right length. You don't want to have too much. A good rule of thumb is to use the length of your forearm. So go ahead and measure that and then cut that length. Our fourth tip is to keep your embroidery floss twist and tangle free. It's a good idea to separate all the strands first. This will give you smoother and more attractive stitches. So this process is easiest if you hold the top part, kind of pinch all the strands, and then pull one strand out. So then you can do this with all the rest of the strands. Once you have all the strands separated, then you can decide however many you're going to be stitching with, put them together, and then you can run your fingers along and that'll really flatten them out. Our fifth tip is about choosing the number of strands you're going to use. If you'd like to do detail work, 1 or 2 is good. Most patterns call for about 3 to 4, and then if you want to go really bold, you can use all 6. Tip number 6 is about creating your own custom variegated strands. So you can buy variegated strands, but if you would like a more custom color, you can combine several colors and put the strands together and make your own variegated thread. So we've put a red and a green together here. So our 7th tip is to avoid so many knots on the back of your project, is to catch the tail in the first stitch. So when you pull it down, that's just going to secure that tail so you don't have a big knot in the bottom of your project. And our last tip is for having a clean finish, or when you need to change your thread, instead of knotting, you can weave back through your stitches. And then you can cut that off. So those are our tips for embroidery. If you'd like more tutorials, check the links in our description.